The most informed society in human history may also be the least aware of what is controlling it. Carl Jung warned that modern man could become so surrounded by information that he would mistake knowledge for consciousness. We consume endless opinions, trends, news, entertainment, and algorithms, yet rarely stop to ask the deeper question: who is actually shaping the mind behind what we consume? This is not a video about intelligence. It is a video about obedience disguised as awareness. By the end of it, you will understand why the systems around you do not reward thinking. They reward the appearance of thinking while quietly punishing the real thing. Section 1. The confusion between information and consciousness. Jung drew a sharp distinction between knowing facts and knowing yourself. A mind can be saturated with data and still remain psychologically asleep. Consciousness, in Jung's framework, was not the accumulation of external content. It was the ongoing, often uncomfortable work of integrating what lives inside you: your instincts, your contradictions, your shadow. Modern life inverted this. It became easier and more socially rewarded to know what is happening in the world than to know what is happening within yourself. You can recite headlines, statistics, and opinions on command, yet remain a stranger to your own motives. This is not an accident of culture. It is the direct result of a civilization that measures worth by output, not by depth. A person who scrolls through 100 articles a day looks, from the outside, informed. But information absorbed without reflection does not build a mind. It builds a surface. And a surface is far easier to manage than a depth. Section 2. Why depth is inefficient. Every system that requires large numbers of people to behave predictably has an interest in shallow minds. Deep thought is slow. It questions premises. It stalls decisions, disrupts consensus, and resists simple categorization. A workforce of individuals engaged in genuine self-examination is unpredictable. Unpredictable in what they will tolerate, unpredictable in what they will demand, unpredictable in what they will refuse. Institutions, whether corporate, political, or cultural, do not function well with unpredictability. They function well with compliance. And compliance is produced far more efficiently by minds trained to react than by minds trained to reflect. This is the quiet mechanism behind what looks like a reward for stupidity. It is not that ignorance is inherently valued. It is that a mind occupied with surface-level stimulation is structurally easier to direct than a mind occupied with its own depths. Efficiency at scale favors shallowness. It always has. Section 3. The persona as currency. Jung described the persona as the mask a person wears to navigate social life. The curated identity presented to the world, distinct from the unconscious material beneath it. In earlier eras, the persona was a private negotiation between the individual and their community. Today, it has become a public commodity, refined and broadcast for approval. Attention has replaced land and gold as the primary form of currency, and the persona is the asset that generates it. A carefully managed image, confident, certain, entertaining, converts more efficiently into attention than a complicated, doubting, internally conflicted human being. So the culture trains you, subtly and constantly, to invest in the mask rather than the self behind it. The version of you that performs well is rewarded. The version of you that sits quietly with uncertainty is not. Over time, most people stop distinguishing between the two. The persona is no longer worn, it is worshipped. Section 4. The punishment of genuine thought. Watch what happens in almost any social environment when someone expresses a fully independent thought, one that does not align neatly with an existing camp, ideology, or trend. It is rarely met with curiosity. It is met with suspicion, mockery, or exclusion. This is not a coincidence. A group's cohesion depends on shared assumptions. A person who thinks outside those assumptions, even accurately, threatens the comfort of the group's certainty. So the group does not reward the independent thinker. It disciplines them, sometimes through open hostility, more often through subtle withdrawal. Less inclusion, less warmth, less social reward. Jung understood this dynamic as part of the shadow's function within collective life. The group projects its own unacknowledged doubts onto the individual who dares to voice them, and then punishes that individual for carrying what the group refuses to face. The lesson is absorbed early and permanently. Conformity is safe. Depth is costly. Most people, faced with that trade, choose safety and call it wisdom. Section 5. Distraction as design, not accident. It is tempting to believe that constant distraction is simply a side effect of technological progress, an unintended consequence of speed and connectivity. This is a comforting story, and it is incomplete. Systems of attention are engineered with extraordinary precision to keep the mind occupied, reactive, and fragmented. A fragmented mind does not have the sustained focus required for the kind of self-confrontation Jung considered essential to psychological development. Fragmentation is not the enemy of these systems. It is the product. Every notification, every algorithmic feed calibrated to maximize engagement, every cycle of outrage and resolution repeats a single function. It keeps consciousness pointed outward at content rather than inward at the self generating the reaction to that content. You are not merely distracted by accident. You are distracted by design, and the design succeeds precisely because it feels like your own choice. Section 6. The comfort of the herd. Jung wrote extensively on what he called mass-mindedness, the phenomenon by which individuals dissolve their personal judgment into the identity of the collective. Inside a crowd, moral responsibility diffuses. Decisions that an individual would never make alone become permissible, even righteous, once made in unison with others. This dissolution offers something genuinely valuable to the psyche: relief. Individuation, the lifelong process of becoming a distinct, integrated self, is exhausting and isolated. The herd offers an exit from that exhaustion. It offers identity without the labor of building one, certainty without the discomfort of doubt, belonging without the risk of standing apart. Society, in turn, rewards those who stay inside the herd with acceptance and reserves its harshest judgment for those who leave it. This is why so many people who could think independently choose not to. The reward structure is not built around truth. It is built around comfort, and comfort belongs to the herd. Section 7. The illusion of choice in a curated world. Every platform you use presents itself as a neutral space of options. Search results, recommendations, feeds, offering you, apparently, the freedom to choose what you consume. But choice within a curated environment is not the same as autonomous thought. The options themselves have already been filtered by systems designed to predict and reinforce your existing patterns, not to expand them. You're not being shown the full landscape of ideas and asked to select freely. You are being shown a narrow corridor built from your own past behavior and told that walking down it is freedom. Jung's concept of the shadow becomes relevant here in an unexpected way. What you never encounter because the system has decided it is not relevant to you becomes a blind spot you do not even know you have. A mind that only ever meets its own reflection, algorithmically repeated back to it, cannot individuate. It can only intensify. Section 8. Why the loud mind outcompetes the deep one. In any environment governed by visibility and speed, the loud mind will always outcompete the deep one. Depth requires time to form a position, tolerance for ambiguity, and a willingness to say, I am not certain. None of these qualities perform well in a system built on immediate reaction. Certainty, delivered quickly and confidently, captures attention far more effectively than nuance delivered slowly. So the public space fills with voices optimized for volume and speed, not accuracy or depth, and the audience, trained by repeated exposure, begins to associate confidence with competence. This is one of the more dangerous inversions of the modern mind, mistaking the speed of an answer for the quality of its thought. Jung's own body of work took decades to develop, revised and reconsidered continually. It would not survive in an environment that punishes hesitation and rewards the instant take. Neither would most genuine insight. Section 9. The shadow of a society that cannot sit with itself. A society that avoids introspection does not eliminate its unconscious material. It merely displaces it. Collective anxiety, unprocessed guilt, and unacknowledged aggression do not vanish because they are ignored. They resurface, projected outward onto convenient targets, political enemies, cultural scapegoats, moral panics. Jung believed that what a person or a collective refuses to face internally will inevitably be acted out externally, often with far greater destructiveness than if it had simply been confronted. This is the deeper cost of a culture that rewards distraction over depth. It is not simply that individuals remain psychologically underdeveloped. It is that the unexamined material within an entire population accumulates, unaddressed, until it finds an outlet, usually in the form of division, hostility, or collective scapegoating that feels, to those inside it, like moral clarity. Section 10. Reclaiming the self from the system. None of this means the individual is powerless. Jung's entire model of psychological development rested on the premise that awareness, however difficult to attain, changes the equation entirely. The moment you recognize that comfort, certainty, and belonging are being sold to you in exchange for your depth, the transaction loses its invisibility. You cannot be manipulated by a mechanism you can see clearly. This does not mean withdrawing from society, nor does it mean performing rebellion for its own sake. Performed rebellion is simply another persona, another mask calibrated for a different audience. It means something quieter and more difficult, turning attention inward with the same discipline you currently reserve for the outside world, tolerating the discomfort of uncertainty rather than resolving it prematurely, and refusing to mistake the ease of consensus for the presence of truth. Closing. Society does not reward stupidity because it values ignorance for its own sake. It rewards whatever is easiest to predict, easiest to manage, and easiest to sell. And the unexamined mind meets all three conditions perfectly. Jung's warning was never really about intelligence. It was about consciousness, and the price most people are unwilling to pay for it. The question this leaves you with is not comfortable, and it is not meant to be. If the systems around you profit from keeping you distracted, reactive, and certain, how much of what you currently call your own thinking actually belongs to you?